there's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, that's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, we'll travel like that's Hobo style.
We're going on vacation. We have our vacay RV, our trusty orca, the Littlest Orca. For those of you that don't remember the Littlest Hobo, Google it and you'll see how incredibly difficult and amazingly accurate that intro was. And it didn't just take days of my life to do that. So yeah, we're going on holiday. I want to go and see New Eden. We're going to go and basically take a small little fleet, a fleetette, if you will. And everything is centered around our bus, our bang bus. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but we're taking the vacay RV. The design of this entire fleet is just let's take some ships, let's go see some stuff, because there's quite a lot to see out there, and we will be showing you where you see them and all of that fun stuff. There's been zero research done into this. I have a vague idea of where some things are, and we're going to go and look at them. That's it, really. The fleet composition is not for fighting or anything like that. And yes, I'm probably going to be ganked. That's fine. Really, the design of trying to do this is to go and see the wonderful world of New Eden, where you will find there's quite a lot of stuff that they've added, and you have to wonder, why did they add that? Like, seriously, some of the first things you come across are like, what did they add this for? So here we are. We're going to go and warp into our first example here. So this, in my guidebook, as I open it up, there was an interesting thing here. I don't really know what it's called, but it's basically the landfall Kyoto Mirror Orbital Center in New Caldari. Give it a rating of 7 kittens. There's not much sense in the kitten rating. Very boring. No buttons to press. No interesting kind of, sightseeing other than it being rather a beautiful planet. Couldn't even tell you what the heck is going on here. There is an info, which if you want, pause the video and have a read. You now are probably more informed than I am on what this is, because I didn't read that. Much as when I go and do any vacay sightseeing, I never read anything, ever. So, hopefully you're more informed than I am now. So on to the next one. So again, this is quick paced. This one felt like it was maybe something missing. It was a statue or a monument in New Caldari, and I'm not sure to what. It's a weird pointing man on a dome. So maybe it's celebrating weird pointing men on domes. Maybe that was something in the past in New Caldari's history. Who knows? Maybe old Caldari had a monument with actual written text on it. This has nothing. I wanted to include it because it was so wonderfully pointless. So then we go on to one of the player-made vacay RV spots, and this was in Perimeter. We have the Tranquility Trading Tower. I like this one. I think this is a bit like Steve, the avatar in, do you know what, Impasse, I think it is? Forget where it is. We'll go and look at that at another time. But this one I liked because it's one of the keep stars that was originally anchored basically next to Jita to create a nice little market hub. And it got blown up, and now you can't anchor them here. So this is kind of like a memorial to hubris, potentially. Hubris, great word. Should use that in your day-to-day. A lot of hubris going around in the world at the moment, and I think it's all going to pay off. But there we go. So this was an interesting monument to find. I kind of like that they've really spent the time and included things like this, because it's not destroyable. You can't come along and blow this up. It's literally there for evs. And I did do a right-click show properties, but I'm going to let you go and look at that yourselves, because it was quite interesting. I thought the whole kind of concept of including stuff like this is fun, and I hope you kind of getting the idea of what we're trying to do with vacay RV video, because I do want to try and become more informed at my surroundings. Because every system I went to, there was something more or less to look at. You obviously get the usual things like, Jove Towers and things like that. But I'm talking about actual landmarks that you can warp to and get something from. There was quite a lot of them, things like abandoned stations, abandoned mining ports, things like that. But we're not too worried about that. I wanted to really focus this series on things that seem to have been placed there by the developers because there's a reason to do so. So that's very much the focus of what we're doing. And again, I should just point out, this is all going to be through, you know, a particular sort of series of systems. So in the process of going from point A to point B, we're going to stop at all the things we find. We have another example here. I don't even think if I even remember what this was, but it was some form of station that I thought was rather pretty. But there we go, quite picturesque. But I think this is kind of what I wanted to really do, is really explore, discover, find what is out there. And the ultimate goal of this is to really go and basically go through all 4 empires. Starting at Caldari, because that's probably the easiest one to do. We will probably migrate slowly towards Amar, and you know, through Galante space, probably then kind of Minmatar space, then ending up in Amar. But let's see how we get on. So another great example here. So this was the Urlen 2 Provost Riots Memorial. Again, right click on that if you want. I've done it, so you can pause the video and have a read of it. Interesting, I guess. There were some riots here. Nice little kind of little memorial or something to them. Again, you know, feel free to pause. I have no idea what that is. I didn't read it because I don't read things. And you are now more informed than I am in terms of what this one is as well. But it was interesting to kind of see a Caldari sort of symbol and you know, basically being put somewhere that meant something to someone. The story here is actually quite interesting because I think I do know some of the backstory of Caldari, and it is quite a tragic one. Obviously very corporate structure, but it's all a little bit kind of like spurned off from the Galante Federation, which is where obviously Caldari spawned from. And that obviously didn't go down well, and it caused a huge war. And Caldari was obviously destroyed. Was it taken? I forget. But the new Caldari is obviously their new capital, taken from them. So at this time we were getting to lunch, so I thought, right, time to spot a picnic site. And I saw one in the guidebook, got 4 stars, and, well, actually it's 1 star, a big one. And it was just warping in at Kisogo to basically have a break, go and have a wee break, leg stretch, usual things. And I found something here. So if you've never seen this before, then, well, if you have seen this before, tell me what the heck it is. It's that. Basically, walk to the station, walk to the sun with nothing on overview, no understanding of anything in the system of note. I literally just walked here to go and have a wee. And the Kisogo Sun Death Field thing was a giant station with bowheads and things like that had been blown up. It wasn't a player-made one. Do you know what? Maybe it was. I don't think it was, but as you can see, interesting, right? I didn't know even this exists. So this makes my whole journey even more interesting now, because you know, you warp to basically somewhere like a planet. There's nothing apparently listed there, and you find things. This is really cool. I love that this is in the game. Couldn't tell you a single thing as to what is going on here, and I'm sure somebody will tell me, because it'll be like, oh, that's part of the air mission or something like that, in which case please tell me, because I have no idea. But it was rather beautiful. There were newbies warping into it, so I can only assume this is something to do with the starter mission or something like that. But I did like that it wasn't on overview and I discovered it, and it looks rather majestic. I think you will agree. And I think that's what I love about the game in a way, because I just came across stuff that I never even expected as I did this journey. And this only represents day 1. This is about an hour's worth of playing, warping my little fleet around, the little hobo orca, finding things and basically going, oh, that's interesting. And I was genuinely quite surprised and moderately amused. As you know, you can amuse a woman with cheese. That's true, by the way, if you don't know that. This was very much how I found I was going to be amused, was by being amused by Eve landmarks that I didn't know even existed. Hence this one. Kisogo, I think, is a starter system as well. So as I kind of narrate into this, I sort of realise, yes, this probably was something to do with the starter mission. But how cool is that? That's like stuff like that. Sat here for a moment, basked in the glory of what can only be described as a very interesting site, and then basically decided to move on. But I did find it quite cool. Enjoyed my wee and leg stretch and Marks and Spencer's sandwich while basically looking at this. The fleet obviously enjoyed it, and then we were pretty much off. And I just think that's great that the game has this. So as we move on, we then come across a corrupted gate. Nothing particularly interesting with this, but it's quite nice to just show it. I kind of like looking at things like this because it's not that typical. You don't always see them everywhere. This is obviously because of the Triglavians that have kind of nicked half of the a number of systems and turned it into their own little weird pointy triangle pirate. It's nice to see it. Like the fact that the gate has these kind of warning markers on it. They do a great job. I mean, CCP do really good job for things like understanding what sort of sci-fi things would exist. And I love that they've got these kind of hologram warning signs all around the edge of the gate. I do like that. And I like the way the gate has literally been clogged. Like something has clogged it. I saw another one which actually had a crystal completely jammed in the middle of it. Like it looked really quite epic. We'll find it and show it. But I thought this was a great way. And as the sun was starting to set, as the day was becoming long, as the 5 o'clock shadow was starting to grow, as the desire for a cold one in the bar was starting to become more prevalent, it became a bit more pressing to maybe find somewhere to camp. So we now move to a place that I can't even pronounce, Jungashai, in the Citadel. It has flushing toilets and nightlife that does take credit card, which is really good. And I did my little trick. I like to do this. As you can see, I don't know if you know this, but you can fly to moons. All you need to do is have a really fast ship. I'm running a Punisher that can do about 15k meters a second. And then we basically warp the fleet in. And we bivouacked down under a little moon, and it was really nice to end our first day basically exploring in our vacay RV.
A few moments later.